you all to this wonderful session today. We have with us our eminent IP attorneys, Geeta Gulati. She is advocate and intellectual property rights consultant. She practices in corporate and commercial litigation, both domestic and international arbitration as well. We also have with us Shweta San. She is doctorate in biotechnology and possessed postgraduate diploma in intellectual property laws. She has rich experience in patent and trademark filing system, strategies and patent laws. So we welcome you and we'll initiate the session, which is being organized in association with Guru Nanak Dev Engineering College, Ludhiana. We are thankful to Dr. Arvind Dhingra sir for all the coordination. And we also welcome Dr. Sehajpal sir for his presence in today's session. So before we initiate further, I request our co-chair, Mr. Simarpreet Singh. He is co-chair Punjab State Chapter, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and he's also Director, Hartech Group. Over to you, sir.
Very good afternoon, everyone. As I said, I can just see the smile on people's face on a Saturday afternoon. That tells you that the love that people have for our esteemed guest of honor. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the PhD Chambers of Commerce and Industry and my own, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our guest of honor, Dr. Sehajpal Singh ji, Principal, Guru Nanak Dev Engineering College. I've had the esteemed opportunity to meet Dr. Saab on various occasions, and just let me tell you, it's going to be a very, very enriching session. Our eminent speakers, Dr. Arvind Dhingra, Professor Simranjeet Kaur, Mrs. Geeta Gulati, Dr. Shweta Sen. We are extremely grateful to all of you for sparing your valuable time. Sessions like these and really give back to the ecosystem. And I'm very happy that, on a very special session, that all of such esteemed speakers are here to speak on one of the, I would say, one of the most important topics in the, I would say, the corporate or the entrepreneurship ecosystem. So a very warm welcome to our guest of honor, the esteemed speakers, and of course, the entire Guru Nanak Dev Engineering College, Ludhiana, for their wonderful participation. Before, we start, I would just like to give a 1-minute introduction of PhD Chambers of Commerce. We are very, very passionate about what we do at PhD Chamber. And, it's very important to give a very brief of, what we are doing and how do we are taking it forward. So, this organization is more than 100 years old, right? So I think Guru Nanak Dev Engineering College and PhD Chambers will gel up very, very, very strongly because of their very long and very historic. PhD was established in 1905, and it is one of the most proactive national apex chamber in the country. We have more than 100,000 companies, which are members. Exact to be 1.3 lakh people, companies who are registered with PhD Chambers of Commerce. Our key areas of work revolves around industrial development, health, education, skill development for that matter. And I think we've done a lot of webinars on sort of skill development, things like that. Housing, infrastructure, agriculture, and agri-base. And these days, digital media is extremely important. So I think a lot of focus is there as well. Punjab Startup Committee has organized also a lot of various seminars. And Dr. Arvindji, we would also request that after this, we would want that we could, spend more collaboration with GNEs because you are a kind of leading that initiative, right? So we also have a startup community, and with the members, we have very, very high pedigree companies who are on board as members at PhD. So Dr. Arvindji, we would request ki iske baad bhi, I think any such collaboration, we would really wish, Rimiji, if you could sort of take it forward also for that. Today's program, as I said, is why is it being organized, right? The speakers, everything, today, when we talk about IP, when we talk about facilitation, right? When we talk about any subject, the basic thing today is information, right? So, every webinar or every session wherever it might be 10 people or 100 log ho, the important aspect is to disseminate information, right? So that is one. Understanding types of IP, right? I come across so many entrepreneurs, doctor, they don't know the difference. Acha, IP hai kya cheez, right? Iska faida kya hoga? Lot of people say, yeah, what would be the benefit out of that, right? So I think that is something that really I would want that if the speakers can throw some light on that. And of course, when we talk about business at large, right? We talk about business plan. How does IPR play a role in your business plan? How does your brand strategy, marketing strategy play a role? And lastly, we would also love to hear from all the eminent speakers that the how can we improve protection, right? Protection and enforcement of IPR from infringements and things like that, so that ek protection hai ek brand ke bare mein. So I think that is all about. I wanted to be very brief because log hamare speakers ko sunna chahte hain aaj. And once again, on behalf of the entire PhD Chambers of Commerce Punjab chapter national body, I welcome all of you to this seminar. I urge all the participants to take an active part today and avail all services which are there offered by the IPFC. So once again, thank you, Rimniji, for this honor, and thank you for choosing me for this honor and welcoming Dr. Saab, Dr. Arvindji, and the entire esteemed panelists. Rimniji, over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your address. Now, I request Dr. Arvind Dhingra. He is Executive Director, Science and Technology Entrepreneurs Park, Guru Nanak Dev Engineering College, Ludhiana, for his address.
Okay. Good afternoon and warm welcome on this afternoon. I thank PhD Chamber of Commerce for hosting this seminar along with us, and we are pleased to have you all this afternoon. I would just throw a brief light. All of you are aware of Guru Nanak Dev Engineering College, and STEP is the incubation arm. Science and Technology Entrepreneurs Park is the incubation arm for Guru Nanak Dev Engineering College, wherein we are nurturing the young graduates to become entrepreneurs. And for young entrepreneurs, it is much more important to know the value of IP and IPR so that they are able to safeguard their inventions and innovations, and they are basically the people who are going to who should be reaping the benefit of their innovations. So that is one thing I would request my students to take it from this particular seminar, that they know what is an IP, how to get into this IP field, and how to get the IPs registered. So that is going to be the game, and also the part how the IPR Act is being implemented in our country and our state particularly. So that is what it is. So regarding IPR, I recall a few instances wherein we had to fight for the geographical indicators, the GIs, as we call them, for haldi, turmeric, and Bengali rasgulla, and then we had those kulu shawls. So they were the ones wherein the IP GIs were basically Indians were made to fight. Whereas we had the right to those things, we were the ones who had found them out and we were growing them in large quantities. But then we had to fight for at the nutrition level to get those things done. So I would definitely want to learn from the seminar or webinar that how we can go for IPR, how can we formulate those IPRs, and how do we get into filing the IPR so that we are able to increase our IPR base. And of course, with the young entrepreneurs or young budding engineers, we would definitely be looking forward to it. I would also like to thank my student volunteers from the Students Chapter Institution of Engineers and IST and the IPR Club, who have worked out to make this gathering happen. So over to you, ma'am. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity, and I hope we all learn from it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your thoughts. And we look forward to sign IPR MOU with you.
Done, ma'am.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, moving further, I request our guest of honor, Dr. Sehajpal Singh. He is the principal of Guru Nanak Dev Engineering College. Sir, over to you.
Good afternoon to all present. On the behalf of Guru Nanak Dev Engineering College, I feel privileged to welcome the audience for this program, which is of course arranged in a short time, but it will be very useful for all the people who are attending this program. So this I am very thankful to PhD Chamber of Commerce that they have taken this initiative with collaboration of our incubator arm, that is STEP. So dear participants, this IPR is one of the very hot topics in these days. As an institution, perhaps we are lacking behind in this particular field, although we are doing so many things in terms of projects, thesis, and research projects. Every year, every semester, a lot of students, a lot of teachers are doing their search, and only thing is we are lacking behind in documenting this research. Maybe so innovative, so useful, but still we are unable to publish it properly. And this is the weak area since many years. And recognizing this problem, we have formulated recently a research policy in the college where we are supporting financially to our students, teachers, almost full support. Once they bring out some idea, and we promised that we will facilitate all financial help in formulating this patent document and publishing it up to the filing and then granting everything. So in this also, I would like to mention that our alumni is also taking very keen interest. For example, one of our batch, 1963 pass out batch, they have collected some money, good amount of money, and that money is deposited in the college, and they have asked us to use this money to give students for financially helping them. Similarly, other initiatives have been taken. So, keeping in view urgency of this endeavor, I would like to request all the participants that they should take advantage of this initiative of our college and STEP, and let us do sincere efforts to save our intellectual rights. Innovations are always there, but we will have to develop a culture to get it documented and published and to make it up to commercialization. So that is the need of the hour, and we as institution should do. And I hope this session will help us in a big way to move further in this direction. So I'm thankful to all the dignitaries, all the important persons who are organizing this program, and I'm thankful that I have been given this opportunity to share my views with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your views. And sir, as Simba sir has, already shared with you that we have set up IPFC, that is Intellectual Property Facilitation Center, here at Amritsar and Chandigarh. So for all IP registrations, your office can contact us. This center has been set up under Ministry of MSME. So for for filing of patents, copyrights, industrial designs, for GI, so this center is here to assist you.
I would like to request Professor Simarjeet Kaur, who is a convener of our IPR cell, that she will contact you, and we will see that how can we take advantage of your support.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'll surely get in touch.
Okay, so moving further, now I request Advocate Geeta Gulati. She is a trademarks and patent attorney to give us overview of the intellectual property laws. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ramneet. Very good afternoon to all the participants. I'm happy to share the knowledge and experience that I have gained in the field of intellectual property. So the first thing that I want all of you to think is, why do we need intellectual property rights? What is the reason that this law should be there in our country? The reasons are two. The first is that you are able to register and protect your intellectual property. Intellectual property is something that where you have used your skill, where you have used your knowledge to create something which was not known to the humanity before. And second is that the consumer should not get confused. Now, why I say the consumer should not get confused? Now, let's take an example. Now, most of us, are digitally very active. Now, say I make a website which is very similar to Facebook. Now, the consumer is going to get confused. The consumer will think that I am the one who is the founder of Facebook and the traffic will come to my website. Now, if I take the domain name also, which is very similar, which is like facebook.in, because I'm in India, I get this top level domain. The traffic will come to my website, which will harm the original Facebook. Now, consumer does not know that who is the person behind this entity, because consumers are not aware about it. Now, that is the loss to the original organization. Now, take another example. You are in a supermarket and you want to buy honey. Now, you see a bottle which is very similar to Dabur, but it's actually not Dabur. It's a Mamar. The trade dress is the same, the color is the same, and you just pick the bottle, you pay, and you go home. But when you go home, you realize that the quality is not the same. But I have duped you. If I have made a copy of original trade dress, trademark, I have duped you and I have earned profit on that. Now, to stop all these things, we have intellectual property rights. Now, the first intellectual property right that I want to discuss with you is trademarks. Now, why trademark is important? Because trademark is the name of the business or the product or the services that you are providing to consumers. Now, if your name is not protected, then what else are you going to protect? So, what is the name? The name is Amul. The name is Nirma. Now, imagine if Nirma had not protected its trademark. Anybody would have used this name Nirma. Anybody would have used this name Amul. I would have been selling stationery by the name of Amul. Now, when Amul becomes big and they come to know that instead of dairy products, the Indians are buying stationery, that is dilution of the brand name. The brand name is not protected. So how do you protect your name? The first thing that you need to do before you register yourself as any business entity, it could be a company, it could be a partnership firm, it could be LLP model, any model. You first need to do search whether this name is available with the Trademark Registry of India or not. If it is not available, you need not file it because you will not get it. You need to have a name which is not registered by any business entity or individual in India. Why I'm saying India? The reason is because trademark is territorial. Your trademark in India does not automatically get registered in any other country. So you need to first check and search whether this name is available or not. You can do it yourself also. There is a website of trademark registry. It is ipindia.nic.in. You can visit this website. You can check whether this name is available or not. Once it is available, you get your business entity registered by this name. You can take the domain name also by this name. Why I'm saying domain name? Because domain name is also our trademark. And once you are clear that this name is available, Your logo, you can have your logo. And if the logo is also available, you can file an application before trademark registry. And the three things that you can file together, the name, the color, and the logo. Now you need to see where you need to file. Whether now India has been divided into 5 parts. For us North Indians, our jurisdictional office is New Delhi. Today, you can file trademark application online, which is very easy. But still, for people who are not comfortable, they can file it physically also. But the physical piece is a little higher. Most of the applications are filed online these days. And once you have done your search and you know that your name is available, you will get it within 6 months. That's the maximum time these days. Now, what you need to do when you're filing your application? You can file the evidence that you're using this trademark, and if you have generated any revenue by using it, you can also give evidence to the registry in the first instance. Why I'm emphasizing on this? The moment you give evidence to trademark registry, there will be no objections from the trademark registry regarding the registration of your mark. You will get your mark within 3 to 6 months. Now, what happens after you filed your application, but there is an objection from the registry? Registry may say that this mark is similar to some other mark, or this mark is already registered. Now, second objection we have already discussed, that if you have done your search well, the second objection will not come, that your mark is not available. The first objection, that your mark is similar to some other mark, may come. Now, when I was saying that you can cut the time short by giving evidence to the registry that you are using this mark actively and there is some revenue that you are generating, then the first objection will not hold good. Your mark will be advertised in the journal. The examiner who examines your application will give the order that this mark be published in the journal. Now, once the mark is published in the journal, there is another challenge that anybody publicly, in public, can challenge that this mark should not be registered. Because if they feel that this mark is similar to their mark, they may challenge it. But challenging can only delay the process. The person who is challenging has to prove the grounds on which they have opposed your application. If they're able to prove it, you will not get the mark. But in case you are able to prove that your mark is new, it is your creativity, it is not similar to any other mark, and you're generating some business under this mark, it is actively used, you will get registration for your mark. Now, once your mark is registered, it is valid for 10 years. And your mark, which is registered, is also the domain name. You can take the domain name. Say, for example, amul.in. If Amul is your mark, then .in, you can take the top level domain name, which is .in. And both in the physical and online world, your mark would be registered. Now, once you have registered, it is valid for 10 years. And after 10 years, you can get it renewed for any number of times. If you want to make some changes in the application, say you want to change the color, you want to change the logo. Here, I like to give you an example of Godrej. Godrej, if you have seen, they had a different color. But I think initially it was a red color. Then they came with multiple colors to make it more happening. They wanted to look, they wanted to project their brand for the youngsters. I think they changed it with multiple colors. So they could do it by filing an application before the registry that my mark is already registered. I'm changing the color of my logo. Same thing happened with Airtel. Airtel also changed the logo and it was allowed. This is as per the law. You can change the color, you can change the logo, you can change the way your name is written. And the other thing is you can register your mark in multiple classes. When I say classes, it means that under trademark law, there are various classes. The goods and the services are classified into various classes, like hospitality, if you are into hotel industry, there's a separate class. Say you are providing services related to entertainment, it's a separate class. Financial services, separate class. And if you are manufacturing goods, say food item, it will be a separate class. Say you are manufacturing some tools, it will be a different class. Now you need to see that under which classes you can file your trademark, and you can file your application under multiple classes. And it is always advisable that you do it under different classes, because then you are protecting yourself from all type of infringers. And say initially you have not filed under all the classes, then you can file it subsequently. And there is another provision under trademark law that you can file one application if your application, if it is more than, the many classes that you want to file, then you can file one simple application. Now, this is how you can register. Now, let's take an example. You have already registered your trademark, and there is someone else who is trying to register. What can you do to stop that person? First of all, if you come to know that they have filed an application before trademark registry, you can file objection, you can oppose that mark before the trademark registry, that this mark should not be registered. It should not be published, because your name is very similar or same to the mark which the other party is trying to register. Say they are not registering, but they're using it. Now, what can you do to stop that person? You can, first of all, send a notice which is called cease and desist notice, informing the other party that your mark is registered and they should not be registering it. And if they go ahead with it, you will take all the legal action to which you have a right under the law. Most of the time, the other party just stop. And if they don't stop, then of course you have legal recourse, which I will be discussing at the end. Now, this is about trademark. Now, say, as I said, trademark is territorial. You have your business interest, say, in Singapore, maybe in Southeast Asia or Middle East or Canada. So how do you protect your mark there? You can file application either directly in that country, or you can file application in India as well. Now, when a client comes to us that they need to file, we look at the economics of it. If it is proving expensive, filing it in India, expensive means that the two costs involved, one is the government fee and the other is the attorney fee. If it is proving expensive, then the client usually goes and files in the respective country. And you can use the same date which you have used initially, but you need to prove that you are generating some business and you're making some revenue out of that mark. The second intellectual property which is important is copyrights. Now, you must have heard a lot about copyright. What is a copyright? Copyright is in expression. What is an expression? Say, I'm speaking. This is my copyright. My lecture is being, my session is being recorded. The lecture is given by professors in the classroom. This is an expression. Now, if this expression is recorded or not recorded, it is their copyright. The way they are delivering that lecture or speech. Then, most important, in India, the software is copyrighted. It's not patented, unlike US and other countries. So if you have a website of your goods or your services, that website is going to be copyrighted. That's your expression. You're informing the consumer that this is what you do under your trademark. Now, the way you write your trademark, say for example, Amul is written. For example, the Amul girl that you see every day in the newspaper is the copyright of Amul company. Now, nobody can copy that Amul girl, the famous Amul girl. You cannot copy that. The writings which are written in that advertisement is also copyright of Amul company. You cannot use it, a word, you cannot pick a word from here, there, because even that will amount to infringement of copyright. The copyright is in work which Sehejwal sir was mentioning, that most of the professors, they do research work. Now, where do they go protecting the intellectual property, any written work can be copyrighted. The plans, the building plans prepared by architects are copyrighted. Paintings, poems, music, movies. Now you see, if you go to any market, you would see CDs being sold. Now the person who is selling the CD is actually infringing the right of the movie maker, because that movie maker is not getting any royalty out of that CD which you will be buying from that seller. Now, we know what is copyright. Now, how do we protect copyright? As Saifal was saying, that there is a lot of research work in the universities. How do we protect? Very simple. Copyright application is even simpler than trademark. Again, it is online, and the office has made it so simpler that I'm happy to share that even during the Corona time, we could file applications, and they have improved in this time, that they have also started sending certificates digitally. Now they're not sending any hard copies. So now what is the procedure? What do? You file an application. First you see whether your copyright it is artistic. Artistic means it's a painting, it's a website, or is it literary work? Literary work is your publications. You've written a book, or it's a business plan. These are all literary work. Musical work, there's a cinematography work. So there are different classes of copyright. You need to see under what class your work comes and what is the government fees. You file your form, you inform the copyright registry that this is what your work pertains to, and you can file fee online. Once you file your fee online, you get a diary number, you get a receipt, and then you can courier the hard copy of your work to the copyright office. If they have any objection to against your work, they will send a notice to you. You can satisfy them on the query, and once they are satisfied, you will get the copyright registration. Now, unlike trademark, the copyright work is registered for many years. It's not for 10 years, and you don't have to renew. The term of copyright is the lifetime of the author, and after the death of the author, it is 60 years. Now, who is the author? Either the business entity or an individual. Say there's a professor who has published some work. So the copyright in that work will be for the lifetime of the professor, and after the life of the professor, 60 years after the life of the professor. And in the case of the company, it's going to be during the lifetime of the company, which is till the company is wound up or the business is shut. So this is about copyrights, and the best part about copyright is that this is available not just in India, it's available for other countries as well. It is, I think, around 130 or 40 countries, which is almost more than half of the world. And you don't have to get it registered in every country. And the other thing about copyright is that you can assign your copyright to some entity. You can enter into an agreement by way of assignment. The copyright can be assigned to any other person or business entity. Now, the third intellectual property right which I want to share with you is patents. Now, what is patent? Patent law was promulgated in India in the year 1970 to protect the invention. Now, invention is of two types. The invention is that it's completely new. Nobody knew about it. Say, for example, nano car. Nano car was an innovation. There was no small car in India by the time when nano car was manufactured. So one is the complete innovation. The second is improvement over the known invention. It could be, any process of making a medicine, process of making television. Initially, if you see, the television was not LEDs. It was a huge box. The computers were different. Today we have laptops, we have smartphones. So any improvement in the product can also be patented, or something which is completely new, like coronavirus vaccine. Now, how do you protect it? Now, protection is very, very important. How do you protect? Now, there are two stages under the patent law. The first stage is that you have an idea, just an idea that your product is not ready. Law gives you this advantage of filing an application before the patent office that this is your idea, you want to protect your idea, and this is how you want to name your product, and you give a general hint about your product, then you file an application. This is called provisional application. Once you file provisional application, two things happen. One is that you get a priority date, that you are the first one to file this application. And the number two is you get 1 year time to file the complete specification. Now, what is complete specification? In complete specification, you define that this is how this invention was invented by you or the company. And these are the things that we are claiming under our application, that this is something new and nobody else knew about it. Once you file your complete specification, your application will be examined. If there is no objection, you will get the patent. If there is some objection, you will have to fight it with the patent office, and then you will get your invention registered. Now, most of the time, business entities that come to us, they ask us that what is the right time to start manufacturing? Should I wait till I get a patent, or should I start the moment I know that I can manufacture it? So we tell them, you file your provisional application and you start manufacturing. You don't have to wait, because law says it should not be published. But once you file your provisional application, you can start manufacturing, and you wait till the time you file your complete specification and you can sell it in the market. Now, once you've got patent, it is valid for 20 years. After 20 years, you cannot get it renewed. Automatically, it goes into public domain and anybody can copy your invention. You cannot stop them. So the life of patent is small. 20 years is very, very small. Now, technology companies are not worried about it, because technology is, in any case, gets redundant after 2 to 5 years. After 5 years, we may not use the same technology. But the most problematic area is pharmaceuticals. Because if there is a medicine, if somebody has invented a medicine, after 20 years, that medicine will become generic. Anybody can manufacture that medicine without taking any permission from the inventor. And what you need to do once you have got your patent, every year you have to pay some fee to the patent office to keep it active. The fourth intellectual property that I want to discuss with you is industrial design. Now, as the name says, industrial design means that something which can be manufactured in the industry, like cycles, like mopeds, like scooters, like watches, like detergents, anything which is manufactured in the factory can be registered industrially. The second criteria is that that product should have some shape, some outer shape. Now, the cycle, pencils, specs, shirts, all the things that you use in your daily life, jewelry, the outer design is registered, which is called industrial design. Now, industrial design is valid for a certain period of time, that is, I think, 15 years. And once you have sold n numbers of product, you cannot reuse it. So that's a problematic area under the law. So to overcome it, we usually tell our client, get it copyrighted, get it trademarked, patented. Don't take industrial design, because it is not adding any value. But where industrial design is very, very important, you need to get it, because if you have not registered your design, it becomes difficult to prove that you are the first creator of this design. There have been some court cases. Whirlpool had a long battle with Videocon, and they were fighting over the design of the washing machine. And then Whirlpool was successful in proving that their design was the original design. The second legal case which I enjoy sharing is of the biscuit design of Oreo and Britannia biscuit. So they fought over the design of the biscuit. They said that this is our design. Now, before this session started, Simar Pizza wanted to know that how do you protect your intellectual property? I'm happy to share, just yesterday, Mumbai High Court has given a very good order. Mumbai High Court says that if somebody infringes their intellectual property, the infringer will not get bail. If there is if you take criminal action, it will be a non-bailable offense. Now, non-bailable offense means that, say, I infringe any intellectual property. Say, I start using Godrej mark for, say, selling stationery, because Godrej is not into stationery. I start selling Amul, or I use the Amul Girl to sell my legal services, then I'm the infringer. Now, how do they protect themselves from me? They can file criminal case against me and I'll not get bail from the court, which means that I'll have to go to jail for this. So this is a very, very welcoming step by our High Court, which has made it into a criminal offense. So making criminal offense means that it will deter me. It will deter me that I should not copy a known brand to attract consumer towards me. I should be using my own creativity to form a new brand. Now, what actions you can take? So first of all, as I said, you can send cease and desist legal notice. If they stop, if the infringer stops, good. If they don't, you can take two actions, civil and criminal. Criminal, as I said, is going to be non-bailable from today. And civil action is that you go to court and file a petition that somebody is, the infringer is using your mark and they are trying to gain from the goodwill generated by your mark. So you can claim damages also from the court. Damages is how your brand, how they have gained by using your brand, that is the actual profit that they have made. Number two is exemplary damages. Exemplary damages is like damages by way of punishment. That you want to punish this party that you have used my brand. And the other remedy that you can take is injunction. Injunction means that this person will not be able to use the mark henceforth. And the third relief that you can take from court is that all the infringed products should be taken away from the place where they're making those infringed products, and those copies be destroyed. Like, for example, if you file a complaint that somebody is copying your copyright and is selling the copyright by way of CD or some other manner, then those CDs will be confiscated and the CDs will be destroyed. The other example is it actually happened in Mohali. Somebody was misusing Castrol's brand. They were manufacturing not the original Castrol product, which is very expensive. It was what they were doing is they were putting it in the carton made by Castrol. So when Castrol came to know about it, they went to court, they took the order, and the product was seized from that factory premises and everything was destroyed. So this is how you can protect your intellectual property. I think I have not over, I have finished it within my time because I know Shweta is there. Gurmeet, I think I have.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving detailed overview of patents, copyrights, industrial design, and moving forward, with the program, I request Dr. Shweta Sen for her presentation on the role of intellectual property in innovation management and what are the challenges and prospects. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay.
Madam, we will take the questions at the end. There are some
Yes,
questions.
sir. We'll take queries towards the end of this presentation.
Please. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Ramneet ma'am. Thank you, Geeta ma'am. Thanks for enlightening us on various IP laws. It is always very good to listen to you. And so I'll be sharing my screen. So is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You can show full screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll be discussing today about innovation management, challenges and prospects. I'll be taking you forward from where Geeta ma'am has left us. So what is innovation? All things ma'am has told us were about invention, and taking your invention to the market is innovation. So process of bringing new creation into the market is innovation. Now, why this innovation is important? Now, why this most of us, maybe most of you may be thinking of being the entrepreneur. So why this innovation is important? First one is growth. Second one is standing out from the crowd. And third one will help you in meeting the needs of the customer. So these three factors are very important and which makes innovation very important. Now, this is very important, very interesting quote by this CEO of Electrolux. I quote, Electrolux should develop its offerings based on a profound understanding of the consumer's needs instead of taking off from our technical skills and capabilities. So when Electrolux was challenged by competition, what is told to his team that we should not always keep manufacturing that what we have. We should go to the market and see what consumers need from us, and we should make that. So this is what Electrolux uh, did that time, and it is now a leader in making this electronics products. Now, what is this innovation management? First, the first have the innovative ideas, then plan, process, then turn in them into the action plans, develop the business, and make it a reality. Just have some idea, have some innovative idea, invention, convert it into the business plan, action plan, and bring it to the market. So this all the steps involved in this thing: idea, turning it into action plans, bringing it to the market, is all the things involved in our innovation management. So I'll be discussing step by step what the very first question: why innovation management matters? Why? We have heard Flipkart, Snapdeal, Paytm, Zomato, Swiggy, Byju's, Oyo, Big Basket. All these are leading Indian startups. And what makes them stand out? Great products. Yes, maybe they are selling the great products. They have great people, sure. They have great leaders, usually. But if you dig deeper, you will find another more fundamental reason for this success, and that is innovation management. So this is why the innovation management is important. Now, you must be thinking कि ठीक है innovation management ये है, लेकिन अगर मुझे करना है तो कैसे करें? There are 4 or 5 steps, very simple steps. The first one is make time to get smart on your IP. If you are thinking of a business entrepreneur, thinking of entrepreneurial journey, first thing, make time to get smart on your IP. Identify or think that what IP you have, and before that, what type of market you want to enter, what is the law of the land, and how you will protect your IP. So first, whether I have an IP, what are the law of the land, and how can I protect? So think of this IP. Make time to get smart on your IP, because IP assets can not only be protected, but can also offer increased commercialization, income generation, and other value added opportunities to the business. Now, once you have decided that, okay, I'll take IP, identify IP assets. That what type of IP assets do you have? There are some questions. Do you need a brand? Just think that, do you need a brand to commercialize your products or services? Do you produce content that requires protection? Do you have confidential information that you or your employees need to protect? Do you have a unique technology design you would like to secure ownership of? Do you intend to license, franchise your product services? If answer to any one of these questions is yes, then you have some IP to be protected. Now, okay, this is for sure that you have some IP, intellectual property, but what type of intellectual property you have to identify. Geeta ma'am has very elaborately explained. I'm just uh, uh, briefing it, that if you have some marks, logos, you want to make the brand, you should go for trademark. If you have some software, films, music, websites, some creative work, go for copyright. If you have some secret information which you do not want to disclose, like you have private tech, contacts, formulae, which cannot be protected by any other intellectual property law, then there will be trade secrets, like recipe of Coca-Cola, and then contract, technology, business, and one more thing is patent, which Geeta ma'am has discussed. You have some technical technical product or process, this will be covered by the patent. So identify the IP assets. Now, why this identifying IP assets are important? This is an interesting example of a designer, Suneet Verma, whose very famous design was taken by, without his permission, by his peer, and that is double-layered chiffon poncho with silk tassels. And when he said that, okay, this is my design, you cannot take this, he could not prove that this is his design, because he didn't have any proof to substantiate his claim. So his own hard work, because he didn't have any knowledge of this copyright, industrial design, or patent, so he could not protect his own invention, and this was used by his competitor. So this is how the lack of knowledge can lead to the loss of the businessman. Now, once you have identified that what type of IP assets I have, you have to develop a IP strategy to business objectives. So first one is defensive strategy. You can choose any one of these three. What is defensive? That okay, I'll protect whatever I have. If I have some technological product or process, I'll do the patent, and I'll make sure that nobody infringes my trademark, my patent, my copyright. Okay, this is defensive strategy. Offensive strategy is okay, I'll protect my patents, my IP, but I will also take more and more IP, so that none of my competitor can lead in can come in my way. So पहले जिसको कहते हैं ना, एक ब्लॉक बना देना कि मैं ही सारे पेटेंट, सारे ट्रेडमार्क ले लूं, सब कुछ रोक लूं, ताकि none of my competitor can come and take can get lead of me. So this is offensive. Commercialization of IP assets. This is another strategy that okay, I'll take the patents, trademarks, and everything, which may or may not is useful to me, but I'll keep them, and if somebody requires it, I'll sell it or license it or franchise it. So it is like कि पहले कुछ लैंड ले लो, चाहे आपको घर बनाना है या जरूरत है नहीं है, और किसी को घर बनाना है तो he will come and approach you कि okay, please sell this land. So this is this third point. Then this is very important, which we as Indians lack, that is assess vulnerability, that before proceeding to any business, we should verify that whether this is available or not. As Geeta ma'am was telling, that trademark, we should go and check that whether this is available or not. Same is with the patents, that maybe somebody has already patented it. For patent, there's one very good criteria, that it should be novel. What does that novel mean? That it should not be disclosed in any part of the world. You have to take the patent in India, but it should not be disclosed in any part of the world. So you have to do a proper search, or you can go to some IP attorney and he can do the search for you. So verification of availability is very important. And the other one thing is freedom to operate. Okay, you are not infringing, you are not letting others to infringe your IP, but you should not be also infringing someone's IP property. So either way, nobody should infringe your property, or you should not be infringing someone's IP property. So this both things should be done, and this should be done uh, before starting any business. If you don't do that, you have to face the heat. Second is anticipate risk and potential enforcement issues, that you should enforce your patents. You should patents or trademarks. If you find that somebody is using your patent, your copyright, your trademark, or any IP form without your prime permission, you should do every possible thing to uh, enforce your patent, IP, your intellectual property. So what I'll get back to this verification of availability. If you don't do the verification of availability, what will happen? हमें ऐसा लगता है कि कुछ नहीं होगा, कौन आएगा, कौन पूछेगा, कुछ नहीं होता है. So this Facebook, which is a giant, has to face the heat in 2012 when it came into public. It started selling its share, and the moment it was about to start come into the public, it received an infringement notice from Yahoo that said that you are infringing our over 10 patents, and Facebook has to settle this matter by paying $1 million to Yahoo to settle this process. The same heat was faced by Twitter, and Twitter got this infringement notice from IBM, and just before it was about to come into public, it was about to sell its shares in the public. And so we can see that whether these giants, these Twitter or Facebook, also had to face the heat, because somehow they could not see that they are infringing some others' patents or intellectual property. So so anybody can face this heat. So we should be very, very proactive in saying that, okay, we should not infringe some others' property. So this is what I wanted to tell. Now, one more thing, that what is freedom to operate I was discussing. The search can also be helpful. This is for those people that, okay, I don't have any innovative idea, but I have very good entrepreneurial skills. I can do very good business, but maybe somehow I am not getting some idea. So as Geeta ma'am was telling, that IP laws are territorial. So someone has filed the patent in US and not filed in India. So we as Indians can use that patent to manufacture those products. This US people cannot enforce their IP, their patent in India, because they have not filed the patent in India. So you can file, this is for example, wrinkle resistant cellulose fabric in India, and US inventor cannot do anything. Similarly, the sun-proof antibacterial textile fabric, which is a Chinese patent, you can start manufacturing the sun-proof antibacterial textile in India without taking permission from anyone. Similarly, as Geeta ma'am was telling, that the life of a patent is only 20 years. So once the 20 years are over, you can use those patent. So this is a method for manufacture of a reusable heat pack, which was filed by CSIR, and it expired on 29th of March 2021. So it is open to the public. Anybody can use this technology and make. Similarly, the Pepsodent patent for Pepsodent filed by Hindustan Unilever also expired. So anybody can take their formula and make the similar toothpaste. So this can be done. So this freedom to operate and the search can help you. Next is, okay, you have assessed, you have assessed your IP laws, you know what how to proceed. One very important thing is maintain clarity of ownership rights. This happens when you have founders, co-founders, one or two founders. So there must be proper agreements between the founders. There must be proper agreements between the business partners. There must be proper agreements with employees and suppliers. And this is very important when there is a trade secret. So employees must not disclose your trade secret. So there must be every written documents, legal documents signed by the founders from with the business partners, with the employees and suppliers, so that your IP is properly protected. So this is how the IP can, it's a life cycle of intellectual property. First you create, then protect it. First you create invention, then protect it, start utilizing it. And if somebody uses it, infringes it, enforce it, and then the cycle continues. Now, once you have set up an industry, set up a, you are entrepreneur, okay, your product is in the market and it is a hot selling product, most of the companies stop innovating. They do not do anything. Okay, we are at top and we will not do anything. And this is the inability to respond to new challenges is the is 20 is the highest you can say the factor that why companies stop growing. So we should keep innovating no matter that our product is in market, it is hot selling market, doesn't matter, keep innovating. And this is one thing that General Electric got the Thomas Edison's invention in 1900s, but they didn't stop there. They kept on inventing, they kept on innovating, they kept on filing patents, and now the General Electric, we all know where it is. So if they would have stopped at that very point that okay, we have got the Thomas Edison's invention, we need not to do anything, the GE, I don't think will be at this position. With second is Procters and Gambles. Similarly, they kept innovating. They didn't stop with their one product, and they have 16 brands, which the sale of which is more than 1 billion per year. So we should keep innovating. Now, this is an Indian example. This is the Grasim Industries Birla Cellulose. This Grasim Industries have developed a high tenacity textile which is known as lyocell, and they have filed a patent in collaboration with the Australian firm, and they have called it Nular Board. And Nular Board, the trademark has been filed as you can see, and it has been named, it is a lyocell fiber, Nular Board lyocell fiber. The patent and trademark both has been filed, and this company, I quote, the lyocell market is estimated to be worth 1.5 billion US dollars by 2024, and which is expected to grow by 8% per year. So this is what the inventions do for us. This is a very a good example. This, we can see that this is a small machine, and what this machine do, this is just the size of matchbox, and it is an ECG machine which has been developed by two engineer brothers with their friends, and this got the startup award also. And yes, this is a landmark invention by these engineer students, and now they are into developing a ventilator which will be very small and you can keep at home. I don't know they have whether they have come up with this ventilator or not, but they had planned to develop this ECG this ventilator. Now I want to attract your attention to this on the top right hand side there is written your story here. This particular information has been fetched by your story. And why this your story is important? Because your story is also in a startup by this, the founder is Shraddha Sharma, and this yourstory.com is India's largest media tech company for startups, entrepreneurs, investors, innovators, and change makers. This is very interesting that this type of startups, this type of inventions, innovations, this can ideas can also be turned it up into the startups, that what they do, and they have their app, they have their software which has been copyrighted. I think they have filed a patent also, and they take in stories from startups, entrepreneurs, investors, and write it, publish it in on their page, which is your story. Another example is IIT Roorkee doctorate. He created a bioreactor which turns crop stubble into animal feed nutrients. So he take the stubble from the farmers, pay them something, and he has developed a bioreactor in his PhD thesis. And this bioreactor is based on solid state fermentation, and this converts this uh, crop stubble into animal feed nutrients. So this is a win-win situation for the entrepreneur plus the farmers. So this is very good invention. Another one is this Geno Robotic Innovation Private Limited. This is a startup, Indian startup, started by these engineering students. And what does this Gen Robotics is? It offers human-controlled robots as an alternate to manual scavenging. So what they have named they named this robot as Bandicoot, and it is the first main manhole cleaning robot to eliminate the need for human workers cleaning out sewers. So this makes India the first country in the world to use robots in sanitization sector. So this is very, very good invention. They have made a Bandicoot robot, which can see on the top of left side. So this is their robot. This is Unnati. This is a startup, Unnati Online Private Limited. Unnati is an automated voice-enabled digital assistant that aids informal sector workers in finding job opportunities. It helps reduce unemployment by operating an automated job helpline service, calling job seekers about openings in their state. So this is a team you can see, and their name is Unnati. Another one is this winner in startup hackathon, I think. So this is God's Own Food Solutions Private Limited. So what the founder found that around 80% of the fruit, that is jackfruit from the subcontinent, Asian subcontinent, is wasted, or about approximately 2 crore rupees each year is wasted. So what he did, through research and engineering interventions, Jack 365 was developed. And this is a patented product which is known as green jackfruit flour, which can reduce the energy density and glycemic load of most traditional Indian meals to flat breads and pasta. So these were the few examples from basically from the India, from the young ones, which have developed their technology and have turned entrepreneurs and doing very good. And anybody among us can also do this. So with this, I stop. Thank you very much. Over to you, Ramneet ji. But this is just how, this is the summary of my presentation. Prepare, implement, scale, maintain, evaluate, and improve. First, prepare yourself, implement it, then scale, maintain it, evaluate, and improve. Just check whether you need improvement or not, and then start again. Don't stop.
Thank you, ma'am, for the wonderful presentation. You have covered how IP, what role IP has in innovation management, and what are the challenges when it is not protected. So we now open we throw the house to our participants. If they have any query, they can show a raise of hands. So we can take up the queries one by one. I request participants to show a raise of hand. We can unmute them or they can write their queries in chat.
Kumardeep
Yes.
is there, madam.
Yeah. Kumardeep, you can unmute and please ask.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah.
First of all, I would like to thank all our guests. It was very productive session, and especially in India, we need this environment to be created, especially promoting entrepreneurship among students. And to give a brief introduction about myself, I am Kumardeep Singh. I am currently studying in second semester Information and Technology at GNDC. And now I would like to start with my questions. So first of all, I wanted to ask, for example, if I'm having an idea, and I am going for to a funding company to pitch my idea to get the funding. Should I need to first get a patent of my idea so that my idea should not get stolen by anyone? Either I get funding or not, my idea should be any kind of copyright, any kind of trademark I can do about my startup idea, or it can be for the physical objects only.
Geeta ma'am, you can take.
Okay. So, Kumar, it's a good question. Now, thing is, you need to see what is your invention. If it is a software, only a software, it is copyrighted. It's not patented in India. If your software is embedded in a hardware, then it can be patented, but only that part which is embedded in the hardware. Otherwise, you will have to see under what class your patent is. Whether we need to see, we need to evaluate as if you have listened to Shweta ma'am's, you would know how you can assess your IP. You need to assess your IP, that what your IP would be and how under what law you need to register it. Now, why I said your question is a very good question. The reason is, like, before you go to your investor, how do you protect your IP? Because if you have not protected yourself, the investor will take away your IP. You will have no right. You cannot protect yourself. Now, what you need to do is identify your intellectual property, get it registered. If you have, if it is a technology, you need to see what part you can get copyrighted, what part you can get patented. You file professional application. As I told you, you will get 1 year time to file complete specification. So you need not be worried. Now, most important is you come to the documentation part. Shweta ma'am had referred about trade secrets. If your intellectual property is not registered or cannot be registered, it is a trade secret. We don't have trade secret law in India, but it is your invention. Now comes the documentation part. Before you go to investor to invest money in your organization, you need to have non-disclosure agreement in place. You get that signed from the investor that once I share my technology with you, you cannot disclose it beyond what is there in the agreement. You cannot share it with third party. Now, this is something not new. It happens in India. Now, say there is a big giant like Airtel. If they are entering into an agreement with another party for merger or acquisition, they first get NDA signed. So you as a startup should get your NDA signed from the investor that whatever you are informing the investor will not divulge it to anyone. Shweta ma'am referred about founders agreement. So if there is a co-founder, you need to have an agreement with the co-founder. If you are still in university and university has helped you in your invention, you will have to enter an agreement with your university, because university may like to be a co-owner with you in the invention. So you need to first evaluate what your IP is, what are your risks, and once you know what your risk and your IP is, register it and do the proper documentation and then go to the investor.
Thank you, ma'am. You explained it very well. Should I come up with a second question?
Yeah, please.
Ma'am, how can we know that someone is registering a IP which is similar to ours? How we will be informed? How will we get to know?
Wonderful question. Wonderful question you asked me. Now, again, there are two parts. The first is that somebody has actually filed it with Indian office. So, trademark has a website, copyright has a website, and patent office also have a website. So you can, the journals are advertised on the website. You can check it from there whether somebody has filed any name which is similar to your name. Usually this type of work is done by trademark attorneys. They do it frequently for their clients. They keep checking it whether anybody is filing a similar application, similar name application with trademark registry. Same is the case with copyright and patent. Because there is a problem here. Now what happens is, and this part I didn't cover, but I'd like to cover it now. Now, say there is some trademark or some invention which is known to Indian but not registered in India. Okay, now you may get a brilliant idea. Let me take it. Let me take this trademark. This is not registered in India. But that person can stop you. They can stop you by saying that Indian market was aware about this trademark. How will they will be able to prove it? If there was some information about them in the media. Now, I'll give you a brilliant example. When you go to YouTube these days, you will see advertisement link of Lumen. Now, this technology is developed by Israeli women. Now, you would say, now this Lumen is not registered in India. Let me copy this and have it. The problem is, they will go to Indian court and say that Indian consumer is aware about it because when you go to YouTube, you know about it. Okay, so you will not be able to register it.
Okay,
I think I have answered your query.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, another question out of it. Ma'am, if by chance my IP resembles, an intellectual property of a very big, MNC or a very big brand, and somehow even I got a patent out of the office. But I will try to repeat my question. For example, I went to the office and I submitted my application for trademark, copyright, anything, any kind of IP. But I got the IP out of the office, but that IP in future, resembles something. Okay, because there are thousands of IPs under big brands, and I was not aware of them basically, and I marked and I got it. But in future, the big brand sued me that this person has, have done infringement of our IP. Then what steps I could take? Because as you have told us that it's a non-bailable offense. Yes.
Okay. No, I didn't want to scare you. I just wanted to tell you, how legal jurisprudence is evolving. Now, thing is, again, it's a very good question. Now, there is something called revocation of patent. Now, if say you have copied IBM's patent, you got it, you were lucky, but IBM is after you now. So they will first file revocation of patent before the patent office that you have by mistake given this patent to Convert. Now you need to stop it. Okay, they may go to civil court also and they may take criminal action also. Now the best thing that I'll tell you, we can tell you is like, if you know that unknowingly you have infringed someone's intellectual property, then you admit it. There's no point fighting. There's no point fighting with a giant like IBM. If I am a startup, you admit and you say, I'm returning everything to you.
Okay, so,
but if you are able to show that, your product is different from them, then you fight. As Shweta ma'am said, you need to evaluate. You evaluate yourself. If you can fight it, fight it. If you cannot, if you by mistake you have infringed, give it up. Say sorry and give it up.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Let me just go through my notes so that I can, although my all questions are mostly complete because I have started writing questions at the beginning of the event, but eventually most of the questions got answered by all our guests. So let me just give me just 10 seconds more. I will just go through my notes once again.
Good job.
Meantime, we can have another query from any other participant.
One query is that like we have got certain startups with us, right? Till now, they are not registered for an IP. Let us take it. And if they want to register for an IP right now, how should they proceed? What is the best way to proceed right now? How can we help them? Say, I have got around at GNDC step, we have got around 28 of them. So we would like to help them out to get those things, their IPs, and find out whether how can we help them out. So what is the best strategy we should adopt? Madam Shweta or Madam Geeta, anyone?
Yes, I'll explain. So first, as I was telling, we have to assess what type of IP you are
Right.
covering. Whether it is
Mostly it is going to be design. Mostly it is going to be design because there are industrial design people.
so if it is in market already, so it will be very difficult to protect.
Okay.
Yes. So if
Already
you
the market.
publish the data, it will be very difficult to protect. But yes,
Published data is not there, but the product is in the market. Yes.
okay. So what you can do, you can do some improvement or over your existing this product, and you
Okay.
can file the patent design,
Right.
industrial design. So
Okay.
this way you can protect.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
If I can add to it, what you can do is you can do assessment. That what is the intellectual property? It's trademark, it's copyrighted, it's patentable, or it's industrial design. Now, even if your product is in the market, now you can't patent it because the technology is already there in the market.
Obviously.
But you can always do the copyright.
Okay.
You can always do the copyright of the design, and Copyright Act provides you with a criminal liability also. So
Okay.
it's actually over the patent right, because under patent law there is no criminal liability. Under copyright there is a criminal liability, and now with the Bombay High Court judgment, it's a non-bailable offence. So something which is not patentable, not registered under industrial design, do it under copyright.
Oh, correct. Thank you.
And if you're selling it in the market, you're selling it under some brand name. Check whether the name is available. If it's available, file for the trademark. If it is not available, after you have done assessment, as Shweta ma'am has explained, then you change the name of the product.
Okay.
Because it will not hurt you now because you're a startup. But if you become big, then it will hurt you.
Definitely.
Because if somebody files an infringement against you, then it will be difficult for you to protect your reputation.
Thank you.
We have another query from Mr. Manjot Singh Bhatia. You can unmute, please.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
are.
I am Manjot from Computer Science Department from GNDC. Actually, I have a question that if someone had a unique idea in China or USA, and that person from China or USA had also registered it in their own country, so anyone from India or any other country can take it and use it or copyright or patent in India by their own name. So it's not wrong with that person from China or USA who actually worked so hard for it to copyright or patent, or shouldn't it be the copyright or patent in the whole country?
Okay, I'll take it, ma'am. See, there's one thing. Only the patent and trademark are territorial. Copyright is not territorial.
Okay, ma'am.
Patent is territorial. Trademark has also, the boundaries are diminishing, fading. So well-known marks are there, like Philips or Whirlpool, which are not Indian. So they are well-known because if some US product is very well-known because it's a digital times, as Geeta ma'am was telling you. So if Indian public knows about a mark, knows about a brand, whether they have registered or not, filed for trademark application or not, they have got the rights. So the courts always favor in their courts always favor them. So patents are territorial. So Chinese patent, if this Chinese inventor has not filed the patent in India, you can use it. That is for sure.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
If I can jump in, we have a concept of moral rights, and Indian courts have actually given orders based on the moral right. So when I say moral right, now if you are aware that this particular thing is patented, and if this party takes you to court, you will not be able to find a defense, because Indian court will say they had a moral right. So I would say, as Shweta ma'am said, evaluate. Evaluation is a very important word. Evaluate, do the search, and only then file.
Sorry to interrupt, ma'am. For patents, you can use your Chinese patent. They cannot enforce their patent in India if they have not filed the patent in India.
Under moral right, there
Yes,
might be a problem.
you can use it. You can use it. This is for sure. Yeah. They cannot file a patent for it, but they can use the product or process.
You cannot file it.
Yes,
The reason is very simple, because they have already got the priority in their country, and they will use that priority date in India as well. So you cannot register it.
Register, but you can use it. Yes.
So do we have any other query?
We don't have any girls.
Yes, Geeta ma'am, I would like to ask a question. How
Wonderful.
important is
I was waiting for a woman or a girl to,
there
ask us
must be
some
some,
questions.
let me see.
It's only boy students.
There are some girl participants.
No, madam, there are some girls available.
Okay.
They are there.
Yeah,
But-
ma'am, please go ahead.
Question, or is everything clear to them? Ma'am, I have a question. Yes. How important is technology transfer in case of if you are patenting something or if you want to go for an IP? So how important is technology transfer, and at what stage should we think about it?
Wonderful question. Now there are many legalities involved here. Now what happens is, if I am a big giant out of US, if I am Apple, I'm IBM, and in India I'm a startup. Now thing is, I'll never be able to negotiate technology transfer with them. Now this happens with Microsoft. All the startups will be using Microsoft platform to develop their software. Microsoft will only license that software to you. They will never do the technology transfer. And you cannot fight with them. You cannot negotiate with them because they're giants. And here comes your sovereign rights. We have country to country, we have certain treaties. Under that treaty, if that provides you, there's something called bilateral investment treaties. Now, under that treaty, if it comes that technology transfer is important, then it can happen. But normally, let me tell you, ma'am, it's difficult to do technology transfer with giants. Otherwise, you can do. And your second question was, what is the right time of doing it? The right time of doing it is when you're entering into business agreement with them. Before you start manufacturing it or you start selling their product, that is the right time. But it has happened in the past. It has happened in the past that Indian government has also fought for it, that you do the technology transfer, only then will allow you to enter into India.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
So if there are no further queries, I request Professor Simranjeet Kaur. She is the convener of IPR Cell, Guru Nanak Dev Engineering College, for vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. On behalf of our principal, sir, Dr. Sehajpal Singh, and Dr. Arvind Dhingra, who is the Executive Director of STEP, everybody from GNDC, we are really thankful to PhD Chamber, the Punjab State Chapter, PhD Chamber, everybody who has taken out their valuable time for all of us and to enlighten us with all these concepts of IP and the different rights that we have and the different legal aspects. So I thank you all. I would like to thank Chairman Sir of IPFC Steering Committee and Mr. R.S. Sachdeva. He's not with us, but my sincere thanks to him. I thank Mr. Simarpreet Singh, who is a co-chair of Punjab Chapter PhD Chamber. I thank our principal, sir, and my special thank goes to Advocate Geeta Gulati ji. She has given us a very detailed, legal aspects of trademarks and the domain name disputes that she has talked about. So I think our students must take advantage of this session, and they should incorporate these things. Like, we sometimes do not know that some things, if they are patentable or not, they are copyrightable or not, and how to actually go ahead with different projects. They are doing projects in their degree, but they do not actually know how to go ahead and find novelty, and if they have some novel ideas, how to take them forward, so that they can go for patentability and other IPs. So it was a really great session, ma'am. And similarly, Dr. Shweta Sen, who's head of IPR Integram IP, it was a very knowledgeable session, ma'am. And I mean, we have learned a lot from your presentation, and we are taking home and we are taking with us very knowledgeable things from that presentation of yours. So I wholeheartedly thank you, all of you. Ramneet ma'am, thank you for arranging such a nice session and collaborating with everybody. And it is only possible because of this technology that we are coming together. So I really thank you. So thank you, everybody. And thank you all the participants also. Thanks.
And
Thank you
special
all.
thanks to Sumit also. Sumit
Yeah.
Yes, Sumit sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sumit sir. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And we look forward to many more sessions in future.
Definitely, ma'am. Definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
definitely, ma'am.
Bye.
Yes, we're looking
Thank you.
forward.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm closing the session.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye-bye.